OpenAI just wrapped up their dev day and they launched AgentKit. In 10 minutes, let's take a look at all what AgentKit does and offer and build an example. How do you build agents using AgentKit? You do that through OpenAI's newly minted Agent Builder. It's a low-code, no-code interface. Once you've built your agent using the Agent Builder, how do you deploy it? OpenAI's launched a new kit called ChatKit UI. This is OpenAI's embeddable interface into your front end. You can either self-host this and connect using ChatKit's SDK, or you could let OpenAI handle the hosting of your agent itself, get its logs, threads, etc., and just integrate the ChatKit UI to your front end. This way, it takes away developers' pain points in having to handle chat interfaces. ChatKit UI is made up of awesome components like widgets and actions. Widgets are tiny little cards that interface in your chat that make your chat interfaces look much more polished. Actions are ways the chat interface can talk to other functions, other components, other tools in your application. Now, once you've built and deployed these interfaces, how do you manage them? To optimize and manage your agents, OpenAI, in its playground space, has evaluation tools for agent evals and also trace logs that you can follow the entire flow of your agent. All of this is made possible by OpenAI's Responses API, which forms the bedrock of how agents in OpenAI are built and maintained. Go ahead and take a good look at how Agent Builder and ChatKit UI work. So let's do a simple example. I am a big believer in lists. I love keeping lists. I love keeping lists for my reading, travel, recipes, research, etc. Every time I find a good article or a link, I spend some time kind of organizing that into the right list. What if I had AI do that for me? AI is smart enough, it can figure out the context of the link and put it in the right spot. So in this example, we're going to look at different nodes that are available in the Agent Builder using this example. You start off with the start node, which is like the node where all your interactions start with. Your guardrail nodes are nodes where you can add guardrails to your inputs. In this situation, I have added that I would want to kind of eliminate anytime it sees an email. I want it to kind of kick off my workflow and stop it where it is. Or if it doesn't find any personable identifiable information, it can keep going. You can also add stuff around hallucinations, jailbreaks, and other moderation aspects of it. So once you've gone past that stage, I wanted to then go to an agent. Agent node is the smallest node where there is an instruction and what the agent needs to do. It is connecting to an LLM. And this is where agent building shines. The purpose of the agent is known. So what if I can make an agent that rewrites the prompt or the query that I've been asking to match what the intention of that agent needs to look like? What the intention of the agent workflow needs to look like. So in this example, I have my prompt being rewritten to make sure that my next steps are standardized. I would like for my next step to be a classification agent. So my classification is happening. I can output into specific JSON text. I can output into specific JSON standards. I'm going through the link and asking the AI to classify it into either of these list types. Once it identifies the list types, I am adding a conditional block where I'm including each list type and giving it a condition on the input from the previous agent. Once it's identified each of these classifications that it comes up as an if-else statement, I'm sending it to a different kind of a workflow. This is where you can build multi-step agents and multi-orchestration agents. In this situation, I want my reading list to go to a reading table that I've saved in Zapier, or a Google Sheet, or a Keep, or a Notion block. So the agent that does that has additional capabilities along with the capability to add something into an MCP. It has tools that are built in, which are It has inbuilt tools. It has tools that are built in like web search, file search, code interpreter, etc. Or it can connect to thousands of other MCP servers that you can set up. I want to quickly go ahead and plug the fact that you can create one MCP server and host it on Zapier and do a bunch of things with it. So in this situation, I have an MCP server that's on Zapier. I'm adding different tools to it. One of the tool I'm adding is that I need to add, create a record into my Zapier table. So all I am doing now, once I've created this MCP, is go ahead and go to my agent builder and add an MCP to my Zapier. This is going to be my Zapier connection. And once it's connected, this MCP is now set up to add the output of my agent that I've set up to input to the MCP is now able to add it. The reason I wanted to put a transform step here is I definitely want to clean up any data and make it very clear that this MCP server contains this inputs and these are my outputs that need to match to these inputs. Once we're done with that, we are ready to kick off this flow. In this example, we're testing this flow. I am picking a good meatball recipe. If I pick a meatball recipe, it needs to go to my recipes list. And if I pick a travel link, it should go to my travel list. So I'm picking a meatball recipe here, and it is now going through my guardrails. It is saying it's safe. If I put my meatball recipe with an email ID, it'll kick it out. And that is the guardrail you want to maintain. You can set your own moderation aspects of it. In this situation, it's gone to the recipe and it is outputting, and its output is a JSON text file with the columns that are matching my table of my list. Now let's look at what happens if I write a list that goes into my reading list. So let's go ahead and check that flow out. In that flow, it is now going into each of these steps and going to the end product, which is my reading list, which transforms and gets added to my MCP server. Couple of important things that you want to note is that you can output your agent to be text, to be JSON, or to be a widget. Now let's talk about widgets and all about ChatKit UI. Once you've built your agent, you will have an opportunity to publish it and have an opportunity to see the code behind it. The important part here is when you click on code, you will see a workflow ID. This is the workflow ID that you will use in your ChatKit UI. First of all, what is ChatKit UI? Just going back to understanding what ChatKit UI. ChatKit UI is OpenAI's way of helping you add simplicity to your workflow. Now, in your application, ChatKit UI will be available as an embeddable interface, and ChatKit UI will handle everything around file storage, threads, OpenAI APIs, etc. Now, to get started in ChatKit API, this is the GitHub link for you to get started on ChatKit UI. I have downloaded this and I have it set up in my Visual Studio Code. I'm going ahead and updating my environment variables with the workflow ID that I just created, and I'm running this ChatKit UI. This ChatKit UI will now open up an interface and I can now interact with it exactly like how I had done that in my preview. You can now take a look at how widgets will transform and show themselves up when you add them as a widget. Like I said, in Agent Builder, you can add widgets. And when you want to add widgets, you can go to the playground for ChatKit AI and build your own widgets and use them as components in your chatbot. I hope this gives everyone an idea of how to build your own agent, how to deploy your own agent, and then make it available as an embeddable solution into your application.